Hello, everybody. Um, so just realized that I wasn't live. Thanks for letting me know in the chat. I definitely thought I've been live for this whole time. So that's a huge funny part. Yeah, hello everybody. I'm gonna repeat everything I thought I was saying to you guys in the last 20 minutes. But thank you so much, Dan, for letting me know. I really thought I was live and talking to you guys, but yeah, super excited to have this conversation today because today we are having a very interesting share. This is the accumulation of a lot of hours, a lot of time, a lot of effort spent talking to so many of you guys, so many community members to really figure out exactly what makes daily quest work for you. How would you like to see it improved? And also, how do we use all this data that's been stored inside our Notion systems to make it meaningful, to make it so that we have insights from it, that we learn more and we understand a lot more about ourselves, so we know not only when do we do the best work, what times of the day, what priorities like do we tend to focus on, and most importantly, what is our favorite carrot and what is our favorite stick, right? This is all interesting information and important information to really live an intentional life, one that we know that we are in control of ourselves, that we are able to um, process and feedback and every single day level up and improve ourselves. And you know, for everybody who's been in the chat, please check out your email. In your email, I've just sent you the latest template updates. If you haven't seen that yet, just go check your email. It should be the super package November 13th, 2020 of all the latest updates for today. And today in this live stream, I'm going to be walking you through exactly how to use the newest features, how to use the revamped daily quest, how to add your own daily quest, how to tweak it, how to make it your own, personalize it, and most importantly, how do you use all that data that's been entered day in, day out of your system, from your daily quest to your task database to your success plan, and use that all as meaningful information for you to have meaningful review cycles on, whether it be weekly, whether it be monthly, or whether it be quarterly, so that you are always focused on the right thing when you need to be. And the most important part is decluttering your mind, decluttering your space so that you don't have to look at anything that you don't to focus on at the moment. If you're working on your task, you don't need to focus on the bigger goals. And when you're focusing on your bigger goals, you don't need to look at the task. I'll explain what all this means. I'm super excited to get started with you guys. Um, I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot because I just had this intro like 15 minutes ago. But definitely super excited to talk about this with you guys. And one thing I like to share, I want to give some big thanks to people who deserve it. I really want to thank Shania for spending a lot of time with me to develop a lot of the things we're going to be discussing here. She and we made a custom template for her that has a lot of intentionality baked in to ensure that we have meaningful review cycles, to make sure that we have a meaningful place to do everything that we need to do when we're supposed to do it. So through those experiences, I've also learned a lot to then improve our grander system. So really excited to be able to have that process of like, hey, I've tested it for myself, I've used it well for a few weeks, then I'll test it with my family, then I test it with very close people with me, my friends, and then finally I'm able to spread it to the wider community outside of Coix3. So really excited to have this kind of process to really deliver good content to everybody. And yeah, I saw a lot of comments. Yeah, thank you so much for being so patient. I really appreciate it. Um, Alyssa, hope you had a good time at volunteering. Guys, remember to volunteer. If you can, do the community a favor, help out your local communities. Definitely really good. Good to see familiar faces. Shania in the chat, Dean, Darius. We also have Travis in the house. Welcome, welcome. And be sure to speak up anytime if you have any questions. This is truly a live build. I want you guys to be tweaking your systems together with me. As I mentioned, if you're a COEX3 patron or you're an annual patron or you're a Power Up Your Motivation student, you have the templates inside your email right now. Go check it out. It's all ready for you. And for everyone else who's watching, you guys can get the templates yourself too if you choose to subscribe to us as one of those patron levels. And for the Quicks 2 patrons, we're going to be releasing that version of the template after this sharing. And yeah, super excited to get started. Let's get through it. So, let me know if you guys can't hear me or if I'm too soft, too loud. Just let me know. We're still testing out our brand new setup. As we mentioned last week, we're in a brand new house. We moved into our Family Without Borders house, our very first one in Singapore. If you don't know what that is, you better learn what that is. Someone can post a link to the Family Without Borders link from our website. But super excited, guys. It's been an amazing experience living with other entrepreneurs, other creatives that are also passionate about doing their life's work, always talking productivity, always talking growth. And here is really everything that we can share with you all based on our learnings over the past month. So check out the super package, follow along with me. So let's first just talk about quickly about our latest updates, what we're going to be talking about. Getting to inbox zero, we've talked about that in our last live stream last week, so I'm not going to go into that too much. The self-regulation tracker, of course, as well. You guys know Anne has created phenomenal work there, and I have also mentioned about it in our last live stream, so I'm not going to focus on that. What we are going to focus on is our daily quest, what we improved there. And again, I said we have a complete revamp to make it so that it is so easy for you to go in and check off items to complete your daily quest, to feel good about yourself as you complete different sections of it, because we've now broken it up into morning routines, midday routines, evening routines, even bedtime routines if you want, and of course reflection routines, so that you can see a progression bar at every stage in your day and get that instant feedback loop of, hey, I have accomplished something immediately, instead of having to wait until the end outcome for you to feel like you've accomplished something day. So it's all about gamification. It's all about instant gratification, but meaningful instant gratification, not something that overloads your dopamine sensors, but which is the pleasure sensors in your brain, but actually intentionally stimulating them in a way where you're motivated to do more work and be more productive as you get on through your day. We also have a lot of keep it simple improvements. Keep it simple are the dashboards for us to keep everything simple. It's nice and clean. You just go in and you do your work, and then you can get out. It's intended for you for quick entry and quick release, so that you don't have to spend more time in there than necessary. And we're gonna go through that as well. And of course, as I mentioned, the review cycles. How do you do your weekly, your monthly, and your quarterly reviews? We're gonna focus on all of that today. So super excited to have this conversation with you all. Let's get started, okay? So let's all follow along. Don't get lost, okay? Everyone scroll down to the master dashboard section, and I want to see you guys in the keep it simple dashboards, okay? Everyone go to the keep it simple dashboards. And again, everybody in the chat, let me know whenever you have any questions, whenever you want me to stop, slow down, Conrad, let me catch up, because this is truly a build for you. You have to make sure that you follow along. So I want you guys to open the Make Life Simple page. Make Life Simple, please. And then you open that up, and you can see that we have a brand new look and feel here. And let's explain what they all look like and why they look like this. So you'll notice that now we have a few sections: morning routines, midday routines, evening routines, and reflection routines. Let's explain the difference. In the past, we used to have daily quests that showed up like this. It'll be November 14th, November 13th, 12, 11, so on and so forth. And you'd be able to click on them, and you'd be able to see all the information for you to fill out. But the issue was that if I expand all the properties now and I show all the properties, there were so many things to scroll through, and it wasn't necessarily you don't feel good, right? If you have to scroll through all these check marks, and every time you check something off, you just see that there's more things to check off. It's not as engaging as it possibly could be. It's still a lot better than the normal task list, don't get me wrong, because you can still see the progress bar go up as you complete something, right? For example, if I check things off, you can see things, go up. I'm at 19%. But what we eventually realized was it feels much better in the morning if I can get to 100% for all my morning progresses, right? And then move it aside. I don't have to see it anymore. If I filled it out already, I don't need to see it for the rest of the day. So how do we achieve that, right? So that's the big question. How do we achieve that? And not to mention, we already also have the whole concept of core loops, of loops in general. We're combined habit loops and the concept of habit loops from Atomic Habits and Charles Duhigg, and combining that with core loops from gaming. And I have a whole blog post about this. I'm not going to go into this right now in too much detail anyway. I'll explain it as we go along. But the whole idea is that the more we can automate our routines, the more we can automate our day to day processes, the better we get at it. And the less effort, the less brain power it takes for you to actually do the thing, which means that your life is basically on autopilot, at least for the daily routine maintenance or improvement tasks. Those things can be automated so that you're just leveling up on a passive basis. You're basically, botting for your own life if you're familiar with that gaming terminology, right? So what does that look like? So let's say we go to the weekday page. In the weekday page, we have loops. So basically, I live my life with four loops or four main loops. The first one is I like to start motivated. I wake up at 6 a.m. I have music that wakes me up, and then I do my meditation, exercise with Holy Spirit family. We do anything from stretching to yoga to running, a lot of fun stuff. Then I eat breakfast and I do my today's five. That's how I start my day motivated. I have my hygiene all set out. My mind is clear from meditation. My body is energized from exercise. My face is refreshed from showering. And then I eat breakfast, which means that I am now nourished. And then I get to plan out all the five things I want to learn for the day, which is my today's five. And then that sets me a positive outlook for the day. I know I'm going to learn something. So just in my very first loop, in the span of around 2 hours from 6 to 8, I've already made my life so much better because I'm motivated to tackle the day ahead. Next, I try to get clarity, right? I do my meeting with my developers for my startup in the morning at 8 a.m. Then I spend 30 minutes writing. So I write anything from an article to a YouTube video, script to just something that's on the top of my mind. Writing just helps me get it off my chest, get it off my brain, and express that creativity on paper. And then I spend an hour doing planning and catching up with my emails, catching up with my texts, just making sure that I don't look at my phone for anything communication related until 9 a.m. I make sure that if that's the only time I'm going to start looking at catching up with all the emails and all the communications from my day. Again, these things you can change, but the core concept is here. You have to start your day motivated, and then you have to find some way to get clarity into your day. You have to find some way to start planning out what are the main priorities you're going to work on so that when you actually start getting work done, you know exactly what you need to do, and you don't need to worry about, oh, what am I going to do, what's important this week to complete. No, you just go get things done. So let's explain how we use the new daily quest in this process. And again, any questions, please ask, because this is so exciting for me and I'm so happy you guys are here to watch along. So for example, if I wake up in the morning, I woke up on schedule, for example, I check it off, I hit 14%. And actually, one thing that you might want to do, if you like to do this, something I personally like to do, and this is completely up to you, is I like to also show what time I woke up. So how you would do that is you click properties up here in the top right. And after you click properties, go into wake up time. You click wake up time, and then you can see that there. You drag it over. And then what you can do, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you guys to see better. So you drag it in, and then you can click on this. And for example, today I woke up at a nice 7 o'clock because my weekend schedule is a little bit different than my weekday schedule. Then you can see that I woke up at that time. I woke up on schedule. I had a morning glass of water. I took a cold shower. I meditated. I did my today's five planning. Maybe I exercised as well. And then if I ate breakfast, let's say I ate, 3 yogurts with blueberries, and then boom, I am now feeling fire because I am at 100% for my morning progress. I know that I've completed my motivation loop, right? I've made sure that I'm motivated today, and I'm ready for the rest of the day come. That's the main benefit of being able to see all this. And if I ever open up the page, I don't actually have to see all the information that's inside the morning progress. I just see that I finished my morning progress and I'm feeling good about that. So the main thing here is that not only are we reducing the clutter, we're not having to see all the, you know, messy content, all the, filled out data that we don't need to see right now, at least until our review. And we're going to talk about that. Um, that means that now we can just go straight into reflections whenever we want. If we ever get into this and we say, okay, so today's daily reflection, I'm gonna document down, the one thing I'm gonna do to make life better. I'm gonna document down my 5 opportunities for learning and growth today. And if I ever have anything that I want to consider to put inside my reflection categories, right? Maybe I have an idea of some 3 words I'm gonna use to describe my day just randomly during the day, or if I find out some mistakes I've made that I like to reflect upon, or have a meaningful conversation, it's a lot easier to access than having to access, for example, past all this stuff, right? All this information. So here's a question. Here's something for you guys too, is that you can have a question. Maybe Conrad, I don't have the same morning routine as you do, and I totally get it. That's totally fine. You are your own person. So how do you change a daily quest? Has been a highly requested question. Everybody has this question. I've had written instructions, but obviously it doesn't translate well over text. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it now, so there's no more further questions. If anybody ever has this question in the community, just direct them into this video, because this video, excuse me, will show you exactly how it's done. So what we have here is, let's say instead of a cold shower, right? That's actually, let's do something different. Instead of exercising in the morning, right? Maybe you do something different. Maybe actually, guys, in the chat, give me something that you do in the morning that I don't have right now. Tell me a habit that you do in the morning that you like to continue doing in the morning. Post it in the chat. I'm going to use it as an example to show you exactly how you can change it or how you can even add it. So throw in the chat. I'll wait for you guys to send me one, okay? I think that will be a much more engaging process. And while that's happening, I'm going to also show like the rest of this page. So you notice that I usually don't do my live streams in dark mode, but I am doing in dark mode this time because I want to show you how everything kind of looks, especially with a dark skin Pomodoro timer. It looks super sleek, looks super good. Make sure that you guys are able to see how I experience it really, how I use the system, because I think that's the main thing. German in the shower from Travis. Interesting. So you do language practice in the shower. I mean, that's good. I mean, language practice is pretty cool. I don't think that's a bad one to try putting in. Home morning morning supplements. I like that. Dean, I'm gonna use morning supplements because that's something that I do too, that I haven't included in the template. So I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna try to fit in German in the shower. Travis, I'm gonna try to fit that in. Okay. Okay. So there's 2 ways that you can add a new routine, a new quest. Okay. The first way is significantly easier, and the second way is harder, but it's more scalable because you learn how to do the process. So the first thing you can do is, let's say that you know for sure you're not going to do one of the ones that I provided for you. Let's say you know for sure you're not going to exercise in the morning. Totally fine. Just edit the name. So instead of exercise, right, we just put pill, and then we put supplement. Okay? Instantly, nothing else has to change because the formulas all dynamically tag this property here. Nothing changes, in terms of the formulas. All you do is just change the name. Super easy, yeah? But here comes the difficult part. If you have to move things from a section to another section, or if you have to add a new daily quest, or if you remove a daily quest, that's when you're going to have to figure out some formula things. And it's very easy. There's only 3 formulas to update, and a really easy process. But just note that if you ever remove something, add something, or move from one section morning to midday to evening, whatever, vice versa, you have to be aware that things need to change, else your calculations are going to mess up. So what needs to change? I made it very easy. There's only three properties that you might have to change. So first example is, let's say I change, let's say not only did I change this to supplements, but I also wanted to move it to another section. So let's say I dragged it after I want to eat my supplements in my midday. Just an example. Or let's just say it wasn't supplements. Let's say it was back to my exercise, right? But instead of exercising in the morning, I want to exercise in midday. So first thing I do is I drag it down to the midday section. Then I scroll down to a place that I call multiplier. And in the morning multiplier, you're going to take out the exercise. So you're going to control or command X so you can cut it out. You press done. Oh, and also you divide by 6 now instead of 7 because you just took one out. And then in your midday, you're going to add your plus exercise. So I'm going to pick out the plus here. I'm going to plus here. Oh, and then I'm also going to put the brackets over here. Perfect. So now I'm also going to divide this by 5 now because there's 5 habits here. And instantly you can see that now exercise is a good part of midday progress. And the second I took this out, your morning progress is also now at 100 because this is not part of your morning anymore. Another thing that you have to do here though is that because we have table views for this, you're going to have to hide the exercise from here. And then in midday, you're going to have to go to your properties and then show the exercise here instead, because now it's part of your midday routine. Hope that makes sense. Let me know again if I need to stop and explain that again, because that's very important. That was just transferring things around, right? So we're assuming you already have this property in. What if you're adding a brand new property, right? So like Dean mentioned, what if I'm adding a property for doing a pill, right? Eating supplements in the morning or taking supplements in the morning. So the easiest way to do this is to click on these 6 dots, click duplicate property, right, in the section that you want. Then you type out, again, I'm just gonna make it a bit fancy. We have a pill. So I'm gonna do supplements in the morning. And then you'll notice that if I click this, nothing happens. Like the system, the formulas had zero idea that this property exists, right? So we need to change that. How do we change this? Okay, so this is part of the morning progress. So we're gonna add it inside morning, but this is also part of overall progress because this is one of the new daily quests we need to track. So let's do it in multiplier first. So I like to make things in order here just so that it's easier to keep track of. So after today's 5, I'm going to copy this section. You see that I left a little space from the plus and I got from the end of the bracket there. I paste it. Now there's a duplicate of that. I'm going to remove this prop and I'm going to scroll down to where we have the pill. Let's find the pill. Supplements. I'm going to click on this and then instantly I'm done. What I have to do now is, because there's a brand new habit, I need to change this from 16 to 17. I have one more habit now to keep track of. And now in multiplier, so let me also copy out the supplements section. So I have this plus supplements. I'm going to go to my morning multiplier and I'm going to add the supplements at the end of this. So at the end of this right here, maybe I'll just add it here to be simpler. And then instead of 6, I'm dividing by 7. So boom. Now I have one more thing that I need to do in the morning to reach 100%. I click on it, instantly I hit 100%. So I hope that's super simple for you guys to understand, because this is something that was highly asked about. It's like, oh, how do I add a new daily quest, Conrad? How do I edit it? How do I use it? This is exactly how you change up your daily quest. And if you have any daily quest change right now, you try doing it for yourself, because obviously we all lead our different lives. We all have different habits we want to catch up on. A lot of these are derived from a lot of the books I've read, a lot of the great practices of highly effective people. But obviously, if you haven't been doing a lot of these things in the past, it's very improbable for you to just all of a sudden do all these daily habits in one go. So what I'm going to be teaching you next inside our review cycles is also how to choose a few habits to focus on every single week so that you're not overloading yourself by trying to do every single new habit that everyone suggests, that's could potentially improve your life. um Another thing the dean is asking a question is, today's five still confuses me. So let me actually walk you through quickly how I would fill out a day. And this is important because I also I have a video coming out this weekend as well that actually goes through a day in my life where I show exactly how I fill out my whole system, alongside with real life shots of like what I actually do. But I'm also happy to do it here quickly just so that we have some data to show you exactly how it works. And again, guys, don't hesitate to ask questions. These are great questions coming in. Thanks for asking. So, um, how I do my today's five is I'll scroll down, right? So, um, so for example, if I go back to my morning routine, so I woke up, drank water, did a shower, meditated, exercised. When I do my today's five, I'm gonna open up the page. I'm gonna click on the template at the bottom so it loads all this up. This template actually will show me what I said I wanted to sleep on yesterday and what I said I wanted to do tomorrow yesterday. So it's super useful for you to take a look at. And if you want to, actually, in my personal system, I have a really funny wording here. So let me show you. Let me add it here as well, and you guys can follow along to add it if you want. I'm just editing the template. But basically, I have a funny way of saying it, which is um, I like to call it yesterday's message in a bottle, right? Because it's basically you're delivering a message to yourself from yesterday. And if you're ever familiar with like these I guess stories, folktales, I'm not sure. But like you put a message in a bottle, you throw it out to the ocean, and it travels around the world. Yeah, that's the analogy it gets that helps me. It's like, oh, it's yesterday's message in a bottle. Yesterday, I told myself that I want to sleep on this. Yesterday, I told myself that I want more to do this, and it'll be high leverage, right? And another thing that I wanted to add here too to show you is also you can throw in your sleep, so sleep time. So then you can also track like how much you slept yesterday. So that's something that I forgot to add to the template actually, and I might update that for you guys. But since you guys are on the call here, feel free to just update this yourself as well, just like that. But okay, so let's open this up and let's show Dean exactly how it's done. So I'm just gonna clear out this template for a second so that I can just start brand new with this reflection template. I click it up. Okay, so Alyssa has the same question as well. Amazing, no problem. And Travis, I haven't missed your question yet. I'm gonna get back to it. But for example, now I'm gonna go through a process. So I look at yesterday's message in a bottle. Yesterday I said I wanted to sleep on, XYZ. I said that I wanted to spend today to do XYZ. And let me just use a real example, right? Yesterday I said I wanted to sleep on, how can I deliver content more effectively? How can I communicate more easily? What can I do tomorrow that would be high leverage? Post my video, post my daily habits video, my core loops video, right? So those are the things I talked to myself about yesterday. And yesterday I slept around 6 hours, I believe, so I can add 6 hours into here. But the whole idea now is that I'm able to now go through and say, okay, based on what I wanted to sleep on, based on what I said I was going to do tomorrow, were there any insights that came to me when I was sleeping? Maybe I thought, a great way to deliver better content easier is if I have an open pipeline of content that can be editable by Poetry community, family members, right? Maybe that's something that came to my mind, right? I noticed that I slept only for 6 hours. I can think about, okay, why did I only sleep for six? Why didn't I sleep for 7, 8, 9, 10? What was blocking me? Maybe I need to move my phone downstairs when I sleep so that it is far away from me, right? So these are just good ways for me to start reflecting on the night, to reflect on some of the information that came as about of sleeping. Then I go into my affirmations, and this is something I've talked about a lot before. So, if I felt, a bit down today, if, let's say if I felt low energy, right, from here, then I'd be able to see, okay, I can find a interesting affirmation submitted by this one's by Anne, and I can use that as a way to make myself feel good about today, affirm myself a little bit. So I can paste that here. One thing I like to do also is that if I already know that I'm feeling low energy in the morning, I'm just gonna add on like my 3 words. Maybe I'm gonna feel low energy in the morning. That's something that I can already start filling out in my reflection. The next thing I do is I focus on one thing that I could do today that would make life like 100 times better. And I focus on that. Like if everything else kind of falls apart and I don't end up getting a lot of stuff done, this is at least one thing I end up doing. So for this, it'll be like, push out my daily habits video after, and how I'll do it is after the live stream, film the remaining shot and start a Pomodoro to edit, right? What's something new that I'll experiment today? Maybe, again, I like to just throw a little spice into my day every day so that I'm like, okay, I'm not always doing the same. I'm doing something new to experiment, right? To be a mad scientist in however way I can. So maybe in this, getting, other Notion influencers to notice my latest video and help share. Maybe that's something that could be helpful, right? What's one skill that I'll practice today? This is also very important for you to kind of test. Is like, oh, what's a good skill you want to practice? Maybe for me it's singing. I don't know, right? I'm just putting something there. And then the 5 opportunities for learning and growth today. This is something that I love using, and I really recommend you guys use it. And I hope that through the sharing today, you guys will learn how I use it and maybe inspires you on how you could potentially use it for yourself as well. So, for example, my opportunities for learning and growth today were in the morning, I wrote down, again, I wrote down in my personal journal, but I'm going to write it here as well to mirror it. But in the morning, I sent out newsletters, right? Or not newsletter, sent out patron updates, live stream, and I also, did other stuff. I'm planning to do other stuff today. I'm planning to do filming for my video. I have a dinner obligation with friends, and then Saturday games with the community. Right? So these are, in my mind, as I'm playing the day, these are the 5 opportunities I have to learn something new. And if I open up this template, you can see, oh, and another thing you can update here, that I unfortunately didn't update, because there's just a lot of things I tweaked that I'm testing, and I think it's a good chance actually for me to show you guys like how to update this as well. So one thing I like doing now is I like to put learning. I like to make sure I have 3 learnings every day, and then I have an action. So this is what I like to do here. And then actually, let's make this text. Let's turn this into text. Yeah, looks good. Turn into text. So I'm going to duplicate this 5 times, 4 times. I'm going to delete that, drag that here, drag that here, delete this, drag that here, delete this, and then drag this here and delete this. Okay, so basically, if you go back to your daily quest, and again, you guys can follow along if you want. I know it's your evening, but it's also interesting for you to fill it out as well, just to practice. But for example, now that I have this new and improved show and hide property, which I'll be happy to actually pass it to you guys if you guys like. But basically, I just have it open. And I say, okay, what did I learn when I sent this out, right? I can probably could have drafted it earlier, I wanted to send out the quick to update as well, but didn't have have time to fully flesh out the simple the distributed parts of the package, you know. Um, and then another learning might have been, this morning another learning was uh, I because I woke up early, I got a good chance to eat breakfast as well before the stream. Felt good about that. So then you can also give yourself like little information on like what did you feel good about, right? What did you feel bad about? And again, it just helps you reflect on things that just happened so that you don't lose sight of what you want to go forward to. And an action item for me then is send out to updates after live stream, right? And I can check it off when it's done. That's super easy, right? And again, for live stream, for example, like again, if I use the template, right? So use the template here. Again, if you put it into actual template, it'll be automatically generated. But let me just do it. So first one, obviously my first learning is triple check if I am live before talking for 15 minutes. So that's a big thing, right? And then, some other learning. So that's the whole idea. So I plan out 5 big things that I know I'm going to do today. And then as I do them, I reflect on the experience and I say, what are the 3 things I learned and one action item I can take from it. This is all designed because I strongly dislike having meaningless interactions, meaningless experiences. And not to say that it's not fun to have those, it's super fun. But then after it all, I don't feel like I learned anything. So even if it's the most mundane, most boring thing ever, at least I can now say I've learned that that thing was boring, right? So I can use this reflection process as my way of just centering myself and aligning myself. Um, Dean, Alyssa, does that help you? Does that help you understand? Because I think this is so important for anybody to learn and to know. And while they're going to give me that answer, I also want to share. You guys will notice that because we have a brand new item called supplements, it's now sticking out. So what you have to do is click these 6 dots, click this hide property, and click always hide, and then you hide it. As simple as that. So super easy. Perfect. Exercise, take a walk. Yeah. So basically, we've shown you how you can move things around. And Travis had another question where he wants to know how do we change a habit from morning to afternoon? So let me just do it reverse, right? Let me change from the afternoon to the morning, right? Let me move for example, the exercise back to the morning. Okay. So I'm going to grab this 6 dots. I'm going to drag it up right after meditation, just for an example. You notice that right now, if I untoggle exercise, it's still only going to change the midday progress. It's not going to change the morning progress. That's a problem. So if I go down and I go to my midday multiplier, I'm going to go into exercise. I'm going to cut it out, right? I'm going to cut it out and actually cut it out right here. And then I'm going to divide this by 4 because now there's only 1, 2, 3. Actually, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 items in here. And then I'm going to go to my morning multiplier. I am now going to add exercise. So plus exercise into here. So now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to divide by 8. So now if I scroll up, you'll see that if I toggle and untoggle exercise, it's now affecting my morning progress instead. Okay. And then Carl asked the question is, do I ever worry about insights gained buried reflection? I don't. And this is why. I have to explain why it doesn't. And this is actually one of the big reasons why I opted to do like all this hiding of properties whole concept is because right now I have all this raw data, right? Again, I get exactly what you mean. I have a lot of raw data that's hidden in toggles that's going to be, not searchable, all that jazz. Completely get it. Which is why at the end of the day, so let's say I go through my morning routine, I did my midday routine, again, another thing, exercise goes back to the other page, right? Let's go back to morning. I'm going to get my property for exercise. And then in exercise, I'm going to drag it over to after my meditation, for example. Okay. If I go to my midday, I go walk. Let's say I had lunch. Let's say I had ramen. Let's say I did some personal development. I read a book. Let's say I did some writing. Awesome, awesome. So I'm feeling real good about myself so far. I go into the evening now, and then maybe I exercised again in the evening. Maybe I had dinner. Maybe I had I don't know curry, chicken curry, and then maybe I practice, let's say piano, right? And I learned Japanese, maybe, right? So two things. Unless I didn't save any money, oh no, I did tidy up. Awesome. Then I go into my reflection routine, and then I open this up, and then the whole idea of how I do reflections routine is that I remind myself of what happened during the day by looking at, for example, what 5 things I learned throughout the day. I take a look, it reminds me, okay, I did this first, I did this first, I did this first, I did this first. And then I reflect on my day based on that. So then I say, okay, so what's the one big thing I felt happy about today? What mistakes did I make? Any meaningful conversations, which then can tie into my network? What output that I have? Output is also something very interesting. I'm going to show you guys exactly how that works now. But output is also very interesting as well. What things am I grateful about? What happiness do I have? So everything fits together so that I'm able to have a structured review, and I'm taking out only the important parts of my day and making them into structured components. That's another way of how you can offload your cognitive power when you're just filling out information. You don't want to have to um, care about, oh, where does this thing go? Where does that thing go when you're actually doing the thing? You just want to note it down. That's the whole idea of why scratch pads and notepads are so popular still, because they just help you easily get something down. That's the same idea here. In the body of this page, we're easily getting something in. And then at the end of the day, when you're reflecting, that's when you pull out some information and make it meaningful, make it structured data inside your properties. Hope that that helps. And Dean, no, thank you. I appreciate you asking that question. I'm really glad that was helpful for you. Okay, another really interesting thing is output, and I really want to show you how output works. So I really want to show you exactly how output works because output is super interesting. So I want to talk to you guys about this thing called loop. And basically, I have loops for getting work done. And this is actually inspired by Tamir. So Tamir community actually inspired this for me, and this is amazing. And all credit goes to him for giving me this great idea. But basically, I split my work up into three chunks of 2 hours every single day. And 2 hours is 4 Pomodoros. One Pomodoro is 25 minutes. If you're not familiar and if you're not certain, right here. But basically, I like to split up. Like I have a morning chunk of work, I have an early afternoon chunk of work, and I have a late afternoon chunk of work. And why this is so interesting? Because now we can finally structure our work based on if we're doing it in the morning, in the early afternoon, or late afternoon. And when we do our review and reflection, we can figure out what days of not only what days of the week were the most productive, but also what times during the day were the most productive for what types of tasks. That's crazy. That's like an insane level of like information about yourself that I have never gotten the opportunity to get before in my life, and now I finally have it, and it's so good because I now know what I should focus on in the morning. I now know what I should focus on in the afternoon, what I should focus on in the evening, in the early evening, and I don't schedule things that are non like that. I just know my brain won't handle at that time, and usually we have kind of a gut feeling about this, but it's not necessarily you know with data. It's not proven with data. And this is finally how you can prove it with data. What times of the day you are productive. So let me show you how that works. Okay. And I'm going to only go into a bit of it right now because I think it's so much more meaningful when I do it in the review cycles. Um, because right now I'm just going to show you, for example, if I had a lot of tasks to do today. Okay. So I'm going to open today view. And actually, one thing that I didn't do here, this is something you can follow along. Actually, I do want you guys to follow along. This is actually a big part of the build because I want you guys to also learn how to edit things. I think that's something that a lot of us have taken granted for is that, oh, the system's all set up for us. You know, I don't know exactly know how to change this, and I'm scared to change it. I don't want to break anything, and I want to help you get over that fear because things are meant to be broken, and even if things break, I want to let you know you can fix things very, very easily. So I want to make sure that I'm always positioning yourself for that is if you want to change the system to what you want it to do it. There's no way I am building the perfect system that will fit your needs out of the box. The whole idea of having Notion is that you can edit the system that you want. You can build the future that you want to see. And I'm just here to help empower your journey, give you the starting tools, give you the initial infrastructure and architecture so that you can continuously scale and scaffold on top of it. So follow along, open up the mental health equals mental wealth, open up the today view, and then you can duplicate this view, and then you'll see another version of this pop up below. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this view into a board view. And we're going to sort this board or group this board, group by. We're going to group it by something called time block. And then we're going to hide everything here. And then we're going to now give it a little space here. And then we're going to add a filter here that says, and time block is empty. And then same thing here, we're going to add a filter and time block is empty. So now we're going to have this section here where we're going to show it's not complete, and I don't care about the due dates anymore. I only care if time block. Actually, I'm gonna change this to and time block is not empty. Okay. And now I'm going to remove this. Perfect. So what am I doing here? Okay, so normally, again, I'm going to go into this in more depth after I do the whole review cycle because it's more meaningful to see like, oh my gosh, you planned out your areas, your values, your goals, your key results, your projects, and then finally your tasks. But let's just assume you've already gotten your task list for the day. These are like all the things you have to do today. And normally, what we already do is we already have a process to help you sort what's the priorities in your day based on like what's the impact of it, based on how urgent it is to do, based on how difficult it is to do. You can already start seeing like, hey, this is probably my frog. This is the first thing I got to do today, right? And then this is my first priority, is my second priority, is my third priorities, and so on and so forth. So usually it's already pretty easy for you to see. But now we get to also schedule it into your time block. So let's show you how that works. If I then drag this into block number 1, right? Boom, I can see that that's something that I need to do. I need to send that proposal to x66. I can even have a status in here. So let's add status so that you can see it pretty easily. You can even add impact if you wanted to. Let's definitely add details though. So details. Details is over here. I'm going to show details. And we're also going to show probably impact because I want to know what the impact of this is. Or maybe you want gold reward. It's up to you, whatever you want to show. So I'm going to show impact status. Status maybe goes a bit higher. Or actually this goes up top. Yeah, you can organize it however you want, right? And if you did want gold reward, you can add gold reward here so you can see how much gold you're going to earn for that. But the whole idea is, actually, let's take out impact. So just like that. Okay, so the whole idea is that now as I drag it in, I can instantly see my day scheduled out. So I can see, okay, in block number 3, I only have, time to do 4 pomodoros. This one's already going to take 3 pomodoros, so I can only do something that is going to be 1 pomodoro. So I see 3 plus 1 is 4. This one's 1 pomodoro. I can do something that's 3 pomodoros. So I'm going to drag this into here. Boom. Now you can see exactly if I get into, let's say it's right now early afternoon, I just finished my lunch. I'm like, okay, what do I have to do now? I don't have to plan anything. I scroll down and I just see this. Oh my gosh, these are my things to do. In block 1, I'm gonna do these 2 things, and once I finish it, I'm gonna just drag it to the complete. Again, that still works totally fine. So if I drag this down, instantly, boom, it's complete. And I earned the gold for it. I earned 50 gold for it. Amazing, right? So it makes it super easy for you to schedule out your day like no other. Like really no other. You can just schedule your day. I can't even express how excited I am about this because it's actually just that amazing for me. Like it has helped me have so much clarity over my day, and it's helped me make it also very modular. If I have any meetings during the day, I can now say, okay, after my 3 pomodoro section, I have a place for a meeting. Or maybe I have one before block 2 and block 3 when I'm having my break. Or maybe I have one during lunch, right? Before my block 1, block 2. Maybe for you, block 1, 2, and 3 is early afternoon, late afternoon, and early evening, right? For me, it's just morning, early afternoon, and late afternoon. It's completely up to you on how to use it this way. So, um, so the idea here is that you're actually making it super easy for you to schedule out all the tasks that you have to do and make it so that when you actually have to do the task, you don't have to think so hard about it at all. So that's something that's super, super meaningful, at least for me, to look at and to do. And if you'd like, you can actually put this down here so that it's very easy for you to see these are the things that you have to do. And so that even when you untoggle it, you can see, okay, these are the things that I've said that I'm going to do in block 1, block 2, block 3. And if you want to, you can even add in stuff like maybe these are the priorities I set out for myself, right? These are the frogs, these are the first priority, second priority, so on and so forth. So it makes it really easy for you to follow along like that. All right, cool. Um, yeah, Greg, this update really is huge. Like just the concept alone, like so this is a story I want to tell because I guess it kind of humanizes the experience in a way too. Is because I the whole experience of moving houses for the last month, as well as I had an unfortunate eye infection starting a month ago that was very serious and having to go to a hospital. But the issue was that, I'm better now, but the issue was that because of the stress from moving and the stress from having like a medical ailment, like that actually made me lose control of my system. I wasn't able to put in, my daily quest anymore. I wasn't able to do my tasks on time. And it really frustrated me because I started seeing all the problems that a lot of people have been telling me about. It's like, oh, Conrad, once I stop using the system for a day or two or a week or however long, I start losing control and I don't want to get back into the system anymore. It's scary. A lot of things that frustrate the process and make it confusing and hard for you to get back in. So, what I really wanted to achieve this month, and I'm really happy that I did, was if you ever get lost, how do you pick yourself back up? How do you get back from 0 back to 1, right? How do you feel good about your system at every point so that you don't feel like it's a big chore to manage, but rather something engaging to get into? Because that's always been the approach for me. Like, how do I make work fun? How do I make productivity fun? How do I make whatever I have to do as enjoyable as possible? And this is the best way I know how. And I'm so glad that works for me because then it has a better chance of working for you. So super happy about that. Um, and actually, one more thing, that you were asking, Greg, about like a Notion Roam hybrid. I think there is value for that, like 100%. We are working on like some APIs, some API work that would automate a lot of things that I do manually inside Notion. But definitely, like I think dynamic tag is something huge that okay, cool. If there's no more questions about the make life simple part, I really want to get into the review cycles because it is so cool, so meaningful, and I really want you guys to learn all about it. So let's go into that. Um, I want you guys to do is I want you guys to go back to the super package. I want you guys to go back to the main page, and then I want you to scroll down, and I want you to go in, and I want you to go to something called review cycles. Review cycles is at the bottom of a section called master dashboard. Okay, review cycles. And then once you go into review cycles, I want to explain this page first. So I'll give you guys a quick second to get in there. I'll give you guys a few minutes, or not a few minutes, like 10 seconds. And remember to drink water if you haven't been drinking. Stay hydrated. All right. Perfect. Let's talk about this. So, a lot of people have been asking me, Conrad, I don't understand founder, manager, project manager. And I get it. I really do. Most of us don't live life going through these different mindsets, right? We usually start off as the lowest rung on corporate ladder, and then we slowly climb our way up. And while we're climbing, we're not necessarily putting ourselves into a lot of opportunities where we are putting ourselves on the CEO hat or like upper management hats, or even sometimes we don't even put ourselves in a project manager hat, like the execution. And definitely, like, how many people have the experience to be a director of a company? How many? So I completely understand that a lot of people don't resonate with this process, but it's something that I really want to teach because I think that everybody should learn how to be all these different roles, if not for their career progression, at least for their personal progression, because running yourself is running a business, and you'd be very um, disadvantaged if you don't put yourself in a position where you know how to act in each of those roles. So I want to explain exactly what each role does for me, what is a descriptive way to describe it so that it makes more sense for you, and then specifically what responsibilities they have at what time. And I'm going to explain this all. And you guys can learn also too by opening up this learn more section. So when you open up the section, you can see that I explained that review and focus means review the progress, make significant changes, choose the top items to work on. Reference means you reference it, make minor tweaks, and follow it. Ignore it means you don't worry about it. I'll explain what this all is as we go along, but I just want you to remember those things. So, I want to say this. First of all, let me just describe the key. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The key 9 things that that's not 9. That's 8. Ah, the key 8 things that influence a decision. Okay, these are the key. Um, Whenever you make a decision in your life, your values influence it. Your values are who are you, right? Who am I, right? What do you believe in? Next, your areas influence it. Your areas of competence. What is your domain expertise and what are you good at? That also influences how you make decisions, how you work. Next, your sub areas also influence the best practices of how you do something or the tracking of how your area is improving over time. That also influences your decision for anything. Next, obviously, for your day-to-day actions, your goals influence it a lot. Why are you doing this, right? Why? What is the overall big reason? The key results, what you want to achieve, very, very important, right? If you don't know what you want to achieve, doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to get what you want, right? Your projects are your experimental how. You're going to experiment with multiple projects to try to find the answer and the conclusion and the results that you need. The habits are your consistent how. So how do you consistently and at some point automate the process to build up, routines that would help you get towards your key results and goals. And finally, your tasks, these are one time off, your one time hows. But all these things combined shape you all these things combined shape the intentional you. And I want to explain this in a way where you know exactly which roles are responsible for which parts of your your intentional life. So, as the director, right? And think of director as the director of a company, the board of directors, right? You've heard that, I'm sure, once or twice before. If you haven't, Google it. You have a quarterly responsibility, and quarterly means once every 3 months, to determine your direction. You determine the values you stand for, as well as the areas of competence you want to be known for. Pretty simple. You are there determining the direction of you. Just like how a director in a company determines the direction of the company, you determine the direction of you. As the founder, you have a monthly responsibility to determine your dreams. You are the visionary. You envision the future. You go out there and you innovate. Based on the values and areas of you, you determine the goals and the key results. Why do you want to do something and what do you want to achieve? You're thinking big. You're going out there and you're trying to do the best you can be. As the manager, you have a weekly responsibilities to scout for the resources to make your dream a reality. It's time for you to determine the how. You're more realistic here. As the manager, you're like, okay, I have all these pipe dreams, right? Again, we talked about this. A if an item, if a goal doesn't have an underlying key result or underlying project that's going to be building up towards it, it's just a dream. You're never going to accomplish it. So, as a manager, your role is to help your founder mindset accomplish the pipe dreams that you have and get to where you want to go. So, you're determining the projects you're going to be working on. And as the project manager, you are the one putting in daily hours to get things done. You take the key results and projects set out for you and you prioritize tasks to complete them. So, therefore, when you're taking action and working on your task, you don't care about anything else other than what's immediately in front of you, and you have the confidence that you are doing the exact right thing at the right time because you have been meaningfully planning this throughout this whole time. I hope this makes sense because this is super, super important. Like, there is no other way I can explain how important this is because if you're not able to fulfill any of these roles within your life, for example, let's say you're very good at executing, your daily is no problem. No, you don't find checking off checklists hard at all. But if you're not good at the founder view, if you're not good at knowing what you want to achieve at the end of all these, to-do lists, you're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to get anything done, anything significantly done, right? Any outcome. Or even if you accomplish outcomes, they may not be the exact outcomes you want. And guess what? You end up unhappy. You end up not fulfilling what you actually wanted to achieve because you never defined it at all. And this is the biggest thing I'm trying to teach in the intentional series is because I don't think enough people recognize this. I don't think enough people understand that, hey, it doesn't matter how productive I am on my to-do list. If I'm not actually able to accomplish what I want to accomplish, I'll just get demotivated at the end of the day. I'll spend 10 years, 20 years, 30 years just crossing off lists and working for other people and not actually doing anything for myself and not achieving what I want out of life. I don't want that for you. So I'm making sure that you have the tools you need to put yourself in a better position. But the same thing can happen the opposite way. You might be a dreamer. You might have a lot of dreams. You might have wonderful dreams that you're going to be XYZ. You're going to be president of the United States. You're going to be, you're going to have so many things ahead of you in your life. But if you don't know how to actually plan out your projects and execute on them, all you are is a dreamer and you're never going to actually get the things you want done. Again, I say never with a very light hearted tone to it. Obviously, you can still get a lot of things done. I don't doubt that. But I'm just saying that if you're not intentional about it, a lot of things you end up doing can end up wasting time, not being efficient, and definitely not achieving what you want to achieve at the end of the day. So I really want to get this across. Like, this is something I'm really passionate about, and I really want to make sure that other people get it as well because it's super important to me. It was a life changer for me. It's changed my life, the way I thought of, the way I think about life, the way I think about how I do things. It's honestly the single-handed, if I say one thing that leads me to success, this is the thing. So just want to get that across. Okay, so now let's talk about how to put this in practice. And this is the really fun part. Okay, so again, a recap: review plus focus means you review the progress, make significant changes, use the top items to work on. Reference means you reference it, make minor tweaks, and follow it. And if you ignore it, you don't care about it. Don't even touch it. Don't even worry about it, right? As a director of you don't care about any of these things. You don't care, right? Including tasks. Just focus on values and areas. So let's start there. So I'm going to go into the quarterly review. One more thing for you to note is that at the end of every review cycle, you review the progress made in the cycle, and then you start a new entry to plan the next cycle. Okay, so let me show you two examples. The first example is if I was in Q3 2020, finishing up the quarter, and then if I was in Q4 2020, which starts October 1st, and then I'm starting this new quarter. I'm just showing you the Q3 just for interest sake. You don't have to follow that, but I do want you to start in Q4 2020 when we get there. Okay, so again, this is all collaborative. I want you to follow along. So in Q3 2020, basically what happens is, and by the way, when you start a new one, actually I'll start the Q4 together with you, so that's not a problem. I'll start Q4 together with you. Let me think about that. Yeah, I'll start Q4 together with you. So let me just go into Q3 on my own to show you how it works. But basically, I don't need to look at next quarter focus right now, just because this is something that I should have done at the beginning of Q3 2020. The whole idea is that when I'm coming back at the end of Q3 2020, I am going into it and I'm saying, okay, how did my month go? So I look at my new month setup. I'm going to set the dates, and I'm also going to see what months are rolling up in the quarter. And again, because this is a brand new setup, there's nothing between June and July to show. So therefore, but normally you'd have months for June and July and August and so forth. You want to open up the highlights, you'll be able to see all the months and information of the months. You can see the notes you had for each month. Again, we don't have any data in here yet. Again, this is going to happen real soon. Once we have data, we're going to come back into this and we're going to see everything populate. You're going to see what area. Actually, let's open this up into a bigger page so you can see everything that you want to see. And if I look at this and I can say, okay, so what are the areas of life that I want to constantly improve, right? I look at it. Okay, these are all the places in my life that I want to improve. These are all the areas. I want to be good at lifestyle. I want to be good at traveling, knowledge, family, etc. Am I making meaningful progress in them? I need to check out the goals. Let's say for my family goals, am I making meaningful progress? What are my family goals? Well, I have one for building stronger family bonds, and it's already done right now. So I don't have any current goals that are building up my my family area. Am I keeping good track of the progress I'm doing? Well, let's check out the sub areas. Oh, I have my network, which keeps track of my interactions between my friends, family, mentors, and so on. Right? Is that good enough? Right? So I go in and I change things. Are there any skills and talents that I should be nurturing? Right? Again, I open it up and I'm looking at what skills and talents that I could possibly build. For example, for knowledge, I have piano that was going to make me better at this area of my life. So I want this to be a process for you to see, okay, at the end of the quarter, these are all the areas of my life that I said I wanted to be good at. Am I making meaningful progress in each one? And if I am or am not, am I keeping good track of the progress? And if I am or am not, is there any skills and talents I should be nurturing to improve each area? So it's a very structured step by step, shouldn't take you more than 5-10 minutes, but it's for you to reflect to say, hey, me as a person, these are the areas I want to be good at in life. The next thing you want to do is value. What values do you hold dear in your life that you want to stand by? And this is something brand new. This is something that was suggested by Shania. Again, love it. Thank you, Shania, for bringing this to us. Is that on top of figuring out what you want to be good at in your life, you also want to figure out what you stand for, what you believe in, right? So you want to ask yourself, if these are the values you have, are you operating in line with your values? If you said you wanted to be reliable, if I said I want to do it, I want to do it, what defines this, right? If I do tasks on time, if I make appointments on time, then you should track everything to do with punctuality. Do you have a sub area that tracks how punctual you've been? over the past month, over the past quarter, over the past year? How do you know if you have followed the values that you set out for yourself? If you said you're going to be, let's say, optimistic, right? What does that mean to you? Not complaining as much, happiness. Then you should track anything, follow your optimism. Okay, so what sub areas are you going to use to track, see that, hey, I've really been optimistic over the period of time that I care about, right? And Greg, I completely get it, right? Filling out these parts is a tough job. It's not easy, but it's really meant to be self-reflective, because if you don't ask yourself the tough questions, you're never gonna get where you want to go. And the whole idea, just going back to the this page for a second, that I don't want you to do it all in one sitting. I don't think it's feasible. I don't think it's something necessarily productive, even if you do everything in one sitting, because you're going to skip out on something. You're not going to flesh out your areas perfectly. You're not going to flesh out your goals fully. You're not going to do your projects fully because you're rushing through the whole process. I want you to schedule out specific time to put yourself into these mindsets that says, hey, today I am the director. Tomorrow I'm the founder, or this hour I'm the manager, right? You have to put yourself in a whole new state of mind in each section. I know some people can do it in one sitting. I know Alice and Shade said they could do it in one sitting. I think that's great. I think you guys are superhuman, and I think you guys are wonderful, wonderful people. Personally, for myself, I don't like doing it that way, just because I feel like I skip out on a lot of details when I do that. So at least for me and for other people like me who may feel similar, may feel overwhelmed when you're planning too much, focus on one section at a time. So perfect. So this is how we're going to go through this. And you can go through this and you say, second, see this. So let's go into the quarter, into here. And the quarter, you can now show that you can see the values here. Alyssa, yeah, you gave up during the area section that you hear reflect for a while. Yeah, you definitely have to reflect for a long time. So what next you can do is you have unique workflows for every single quarter. You can see that every single quarter, like, what do you want to do? You want to update your budget, you want to redo your business goals, and maybe you want to declutter your room, right? These are your different things that every single quarter that you want to do, that is important for you to process in every single quarter. So assuming that you did all that, right? Wonderful. Let's go back to the quarterly review, because what we have to do is together, I want to start the Q4 2020. So you click on new, guys, click on new, and then you can click on new quarter right here. Okay, so follow along, click on new quarter. And if you click on new quarter, you can see Q4 2020. And then if you see Q4 2020, and you can set up the new month. So Q4 2020 is right now, including the end date. So it starts in October, I believe, so 10, 11, 12. And then it ends on December 31st. And then right here you see the new month setup, right? So we set the dates, perfect. And again, open it as a page so it's easier for you to see. And then you can see that this is your new month setup, and then you can see your next quarter focus. So this is really cool. So if you go in here, I have something called the Fantastic Six. So I want you to choose the 6 areas and values that you want to focus on this quarter by dragging it down. So what do I mean by this? So right now I have a list of, these are all the areas and values in my life that I care about. And these are the things that I want to potentially focus on this quarter. So I'm going to see this and I'm going to say, okay, maybe this quarter I want to focus on being optimistic. I drag it down, boom, instantly I can see that it's out of this list and it's into this list. And if you want to, you can even show, for example, the focused in quarter property. So you can see that right here. So you focused on being optimistic in Q4 2020. If you wanted to see that. Maybe I also want to focus on sharing. I want to share all I can with as many people as I can. Maybe I want to focus on mindset. I want to focus on mindset, and that's also part of that. And maybe I want to focus on being, adding value, being caring of the people around me and adding value to their life. These are all the things that I want to focus on in Q4 2020. Again, when I say like, choose 6, choose 4, choose 10, it's really up to you. You can choose as many as you want, but for me, it's just I like to keep things simple. I don't want to overexert myself and focus on too many things at a time. That's something super important. The next thing you're going to do is, now that you've done your quarterly focus, the next time you're going to come back into it is going to be at the end of the quarter. So what's next now? Well, if you assuming that you're doing this on, let's say, October 1st, or I guess you would do it on September 31st, September 30th. Basically what you would do there is you'd now move into your monthly insight. So let's go into there quickly. Let's open the monthly insight. And I'm going to show you the November 2021 because we're already in it. So let's go into November 2020. And when you click on the new month setup, basically you can see that we set the date and now we set the quarter. So the quarter here is now going to be Q4 2020. So once we set the quarter, in the future, when we go into the quarter Q4 2020, we can see a roll up of all the November information inside that page. So it's become really, really easy to see exactly what you actually accomplished in every single month. So if you look at this now, you can say, okay, what was this month's focus? Well, what is this month's focus, right? How can I plan this month effectively? Again, we're in here at the beginning of the month. We're assuming we're here at the end of September, right? So let's reference. What are the areas and values that I've set this quarter? So I'm going to set focus in Q manually. So let's say focused in Q4. So if I chose focused in Q4, these are the focus that I had for Q4 2020. So I can see, okay, these are the 4 things I'm going to focus on: mindset, sharing, adding value, and being optimistic. So therefore, anything downstream of this, anything in my sub areas that I want to work on is going to relate to each one of these. I'm not going to work on it unless it's somehow relevant. So I'm going to work on my daily quest. I might want to work on my finance tracking. Maybe I don't want to work on finances, right? Maybe I'm going to work on my, let's say, my adding value, sharing, maybe my meal planning, right? Maybe I want to cook for my friends. Optimistic, maybe I want to keep track of my fears, so I'm more optimistic. But basically, you can now keep track of all these sub areas that you want to work on based on the areas of competence that you've designed for yourself, right? And if you're done that, then you click check, you're all good. You hide this and you move on. Then you can check what goals and key results you want to work on. So you can determine what goals you want to be completed by the end of the month. You can change the status in progress or set the due date to be by the end of the month. You can also determine which key results you want to complete by the end of the next month based on the goals that you're focusing on. Now, this is where it starts getting really interesting. So this is on a monthly basis. You're already saying, okay, so for this month, I want to be happy, I want to be more mindful, and I want to get further in my career, for example, right? These are the goals I've set out for myself this month. Now, in your week view, that's where you're going to go in and check and say, okay, this is going to be the things I'm going to focus on this week. So let me show you that now. Assuming that I go back into the review cycle, right? And then let's go into our weekly insight. And let's go into, for example, let's start a new week right now. Let's start a new week for the 8th to the 14th, I believe, right? So we click new. And then let's open this as page so it's bigger. And then when you click on this, you can click on new week. And then when you click on new week, you can see that what's the new week setup? Okay, we'll set the dates. So first we say the date is between the 8th to the 14th. Okay, so we say November 8th to November 14th. We're going to roll up the month to November. So let's click on that. November is the roll up the month. And then I'm going to set the dates. I'm going to set the month. And then now I can go in and I can see what is this week's focus. So I'm going to reference it. And this is where it gets really, really cool. Okay, guys. So I referenced the sub areas this month. So these are all the masters and trackers that I indicated in progress or still needs review. So these are all the things I said, hey, this month, these are the things I'm going to be focusing on, all the sub areas I'm going to be focusing on. So really cool. You can see all these things that you're going to be working on. You know, whenever you have a chance to go in, you say, okay, how can I improve my fear setting or my meal planner or etc. Then I'm going to reference my goals this month. So I'm going to set the due date exactly for this week. We set 8th to the 14th, right? So exact on or before the 14th. And I'm going to remove the relative filter. I'm going to remove this filter here. And I think my face is kind of in the way. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit, make sure you see that properly. So it looks like this. This is the filter. And then I'm going to fine tune the 4 goals that I want to work on this week by the checkbox in focus checkbox. So let me show you how this works. So when I check something off, let's say I check off, I want to be happy this week. This week, I'm going to focus on the goal of being happy. I click on focus, it pops down to the bottom. Not only does it pop down to the bottom, but immediately all the key results of this quest comes in as well. Let me show you what I mean. Of this goal comes in as well. So I'm going to also move this up just to show you. So be more mindful. Let's move this up. And then I'm going to open up this key results for this month page. So right now you can see a bunch of key results that had been scheduled before. And these are the things that initially we said that, okay, these have due dates already, but they don't necessarily have upstream focus. But if I say that I wanted to be happy and click on that, and let's say I also wanted to be more mindful, click on that. If I refresh this key results this month, double check. Make sure that I have right as well. Downstream. Okay, I don't have that many downstream. Let's second, guys. 20 increase happy day. That should go up here. Filter. Oh, I think I just need a restart. Yeah, sometimes if you have too many pages open, the Notion doesn't refresh. So I just want to make sure I have it here. Let's see if I can focus here. 1 second, guys. Just double checking why it's not working. I think one of these filters is just doing something weird. On or before, and upstream focus is back. So let's say I had an example key result in here. Sorry guys, I'm just adding in a key result just to see what's the problem here. I'm pretty sure there's nothing wrong with the formula. It's just I'm lagging a little bit as well. So testing key result. And let's open this up as a testing key result. And let's see this here. If I open this new awesome key result, and that should load in perfectly. Okay. So now there's another key result for be more mindful. That's called testing key result, I believe. Or is it under be happy? Okay, perfect. So then if I click on this focus, this should pop up below. And look, testing key result comes out immediately. Perfect. So if I undid that, just to show you, so there's no testing key result down here. But if I click on focus, immediately the testing key result come up. So it's really cool in the fact that whenever you click on focus, instantly things roll down. Like everything that you do, for example, here is like, okay, so these are the goals for this month. And I selected the 4 goals I will work on. Let's say I want to work on being more mindful, being happy, getting further in my career, as an example. Everything will show up here now in the key results for the month I have to do, whether it's that I had set a due date for the month or that they have an upstream focus, like the goal is in focus, therefore all the key results are also in focus. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, well, then maybe I want to work on improving general well-being. Maybe I want to pass a university course. Maybe I want to get promotion. These are the things I'm going to focus on to achieve for this week. So these are the things I think can be achievable this week. And again, it's really important for you to find what is truly achievable so that you can actually be happy when you get to the point when you do the thing. So once you click on the focus, then you can see the active projects to work on, and you can see immediately all of these things are open, whether because they have a due date of this week or they have an upstream focus again, which means that because I selected these key results, then the projects come out and say, these are the projects that you should work on because you said that this is the focus for this month. So you can see the cascading levels, right? It's super cool. We defined for this quarter, what are we going to focus on? So again, I'm gonna open this quickly just to show you. And again, we're not even done with this. There's still more cool things. So first thing we say, okay, for this quarter, what are the values and what are the areas we care about? Then as on a monthly basis, we're going to say, okay, so for this month, these are the goals we're going to focus on. These are the key results we're going to focus on. Then on a week basis, we're going to see, okay, these are the things we said we're going to get done this month. And let's make it so that this week we accomplish one or two of these things. Great. And then finally, on the daily basis, you're going to say, okay, these are all the things that we said we wanted to do. These are the things that we're actually going to do to get there. So I'm going to show you that real soon right now. Do you have any questions asking, by the way? And Dean, I see that you're beginning to see the task forming projects areas. You're seeing the chain, right? It's super cool, super exciting because you can see like the whole process flow and really makes you more productive, makes you more eager and motivated to work. I think that's the main thing here. Um, and finally, one thing to do here is that you can also choose a habit to work on. So if you edit the rollup property key habits to track, you can ensure that you're focusing on at least one habit per week. So if I go up to here, and again, I can see the key habit to track, right? So right now I'm tracking if I'm drinking morning water. Maybe you want to track if you're doing your supplements or you're doing exercise or are you happy, like doesn't matter what you want to track, it's just what up to you. So let's keep it at morning water, that's totally fine. But once we start filling out data, you're going to see that all this information rolls up and you can easily see which for that habit, how consistent are you keeping that up. And also, of course, you can duplicate this property and you can add multiple to track if you want to track multiple in your weekly view. So the last thing here to show you, and this is where I'm going to go back a week. But before I go back a week anyway, let me just show you first, is when you set up a new week, basically what you want to do is you want to drag all these daily quests. So you see that this filter automatically shows you the 8th to the 14th, right? Which is 8th to the 14th. And then you drag it down into your daily quest here. Boom. And then instantly, we can show you that this is week contain November 8th to 14th. Actually, I'm going to drag this back in again. So boom, you can see all your progress. Obviously, only today we filled out something, today for the 14th. So everything hasn't been filled out just yet. But I'm going to show you as an example, if I filled out everything in the past, how it would look like. Because now you can see exactly which days are you the most productive. And you can even see, like, for example, it's like, oh, on Sundays am I the most productive? On Mondays, which days am I most happy? Which days do I have the most outputs? When do I, how much do I sleep on an average basis? You can calculate the average sleep here as well. So it makes it really, really easy for you to see like how you're performing on a week by week basis. That's the most important thing, right? So right now we're looking back a week, but generally you want to you want to do this week's focus for the week ahead of you. So if you're doing it today, if you're doing it tomorrow, you're going to be doing November 15th to whatever, the week ahead. But the important thing here to note is like this is the process. Like you drag it, drop it in, and if you wanted to look a week ahead, you can say so within the next week. So for example, actually let me just show you then. It's probably more important, more interesting. So if you go into here, let me show you something. So I'm going to just update this template as well, just because I noticed that there's a few things that I could have improved about the experience, like some filter stuff and things like that. So I do want to make sure that that's pushed out for you guys. But if you guys are following me now, you guys can see exactly what I'm doing anyway. But for example, this one should be filtering by week. And this should be filtered by the week. And then this one should be filtering by the next week, so that you can just drag the next week to here. I'm glad you like it, Greg. We spent a lot of time to make sure this works, because it's also important for us, right? It's really important for us to use even in our own right. Um, so one thing here, I believe we didn't edit that, so perfect. Yeah, so perfect. So basically, what we're doing here now then is just showing you if I were to go back and show you, like for example, if I made a new week for November 15th, right? So November 15th to November 15th to November 21st. Now we can say that, okay, so let's click on the new week, right? So now we can plan for the week ahead, right? We can say, well, for the week ahead, what do I want to do? So again, I'm just gonna set the date, I set the month. I set the month, no. I do November, and then I say, okay, so I reference the sub areas, reference the goals, key results. I can choose everything I want to work on, right? But then if my daily quest, I can now just drag from the 15th to the 21st, right? And I can drag it all the way down, and boom, instantly, all of them are filled out here in order, so that I can see like, oh, these are all the daily quests I have to do, that I'm going to be doing, and I can start seeing like as I fill up during the week, exactly what I get accomplished. So it's really, really cool, and you get to really see all the important information in the week. And of course, you can also see this week's wins. You can see what you accomplished this week, so on and so forth. So also very important. Now, we're not done here, which is crazy. There's still so much more we can show. So what I want to show you here, and again, you can do a gallery or a table view. It's really up to you. For me, I actually like showing like this table view. So if you like the table view, I like this also because then you can see your key result, your key habit track. You can see your whole month, the whole of last month. You can see a word cloud. So I want to fill out some data for you just to show you how it all looks, so that you can get a grasp for yourself how it would all kind of be. And I realized that's time. That's my bad. So this should be 15th, 21. Perfect. So let's fill out from November 8th to November 14th, okay, shall we? So that you guys can see exactly how this page would look if it was all filled out. So I'm going to do a little hack. I don't necessarily recommend it this way, but I just want to do it quickly so that I can show you guys. So if I'm going to my morning routine, instead of filtering, so the show right now is only showing the last day, but I can just tweak the show property. Here, show you this. I can tweak the show property to show the last 7 days instead for me. So this is why I like using a property and filtering on it instead of filtering on like, oh, by past week, by past, month or whatever. For this, if I just change this number from 1, let's say 8, I can immediately, for all the filters that are using it, I can see all the days show up. So let me just refresh this because it needs a little loading speed. So I can see now all the 8 days. And for example, now I can sort this. So I don't need to sort it right now, but yeah, if I needed to, I can sort it and I can see everything. Actually, let me just do it. Sort, we'll sort by date and ascend. There's a little bit of interesting things here. Somehow November 7th is below all this stuff. You guys see that? That's interesting, huh? November 7th, 2020 is somehow below that. Oh, I know what's happening. This is by the text. Hahaha. I need it by the wake up time. This is the actual date. Perfect. Okay, cool. So basically what we can do, just as an example, I'm going to just fill out all these things. So let's do this. Like, right? Yeah. So let's say I filled it out like this, again, I'm just doing examples, right? So these information not so valid, but basically I just wanted to show like a different view of everything. And then, for example, if I go into my midday routine, and again, I'm going to do a sort just so that it's easier to see for all of us. I'm going to do the wake up time. Then it's now descending. And then again, I can check these off. I can check these off. I can check these off. And then I'm going to now go into my evening routine. I'm going to do a sort. I'm going to sort by wake up time again. And then it's going to be descending. And again, I'm gonna just check these off, and I'm gonna check these off, and maybe these things I'm gonna put a placeholder so you can see that maybe I did all of these things like that. Okay, so really cool. But for reflection wise, I'm just going to, okay, I might as well. Reflection wise, let's do a sort. Let's add a sort. Let's do by wake up time. And this looks really cool. So that's why I do want to show you guys, like even though it takes a little bit to set up, just because we're obviously not having any real data. But once we get in here, right? So for example, if I uh, actually, let me just make this a bit simpler because we're just copy and pasting things down the line. I don't want to waste too much time going in, coming out, that kind of thing. So I'm going to add meaningful convo. I'm going to add mistakes, things I'm grateful for, happiness. And I'm also going to add, and again, you learn stuff like this too. You learn how to express out properties that you might want. Okay, so for example, that helpful. Maybe here I was diligent, organized, exploratory. Maybe here I was investigative, festive. Maybe I was here, I was, whatever. Responding, helpful. Here, diligent, at, educational, investigative, and then low energy, helpful, and then perfect. Happiness, maybe I was neutral, starting progressively getting happier, and then start progressively getting neutral, if neutral, and again, it's sad maybe. Things I'm grateful for, I'm gonna put things, in the live stream going smoothly. Maybe I was happy about all those things. Actually, I'm just gonna put one thing, and I'm gonna put supportive community, mistakes made, maybe, you made people wait, stuff like that. Meaningful convos, again, maybe you had to chat about your mom's career, maybe you had to chat about life with someone. So these are all information that comes in, right? And this is now where it gets really cool. So also one more place I want to do 100% somewhere, so we can see that. So 100%. Joker. I think we're missing one thing here. How come this one's not 100%? Let's see. I'm at 88. So something here is missing. Let's double check. Supplements. So we need to add supplements. We need to add supplements here. Let me just add supplements. 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 Perfect. Now that we added supplements into here, we can put this in probably after breakfast. Okay, so let's go into the week review, right? Boom. Let's say I went into week review and I'm reviewing for the past week, November 8th to November 14th. I'm going to say, what did I get done? Okay, so my overall progress was around 48% for the first day, and then 78, 72. So like I'm like hovering, my mornings, I have some really good mornings on Tuesdays and on Saturdays. Okay, and then actually I think that's a Monday. My evening, I'm pretty consistent. Consistent, it's not bad. My midday progress, okay, it's slowly getting better. I'm picking up. I'm improving. Oh, my reflection needs work. My reflection really needs work. Okay. I can see my output as well. Ooh, that's something that we didn't do yet. Let's show the output. So how output works, I gotta share this with you guys. Okay. So for output for me, so let me put output here just to make it easier to fill out at least. So 3, 5, maybe this is a 4, maybe this is a 2, maybe this is 5, 4, and then 3, and this is maybe a 1. Okay. But how I do output is like this. Okay. Remember when I said that we have priorities here? So obviously I took it out, so it's here now. Basically, if I said that I was going to do 5 things and I only did 2 things, basically I only achieved a 2 out of 5. So I achieved 2 stars. If I achieved 3 things, that's a 3 stars. 4 things, 4 stars. And this could scale, right? If you had to do 10 things and you did like 3 things, then you got like a 1.5 star, right? Or 4, 2 star. It's up to you. But the whole idea is that you're trying to gauge your actual effectiveness, right? Not your perceived effectiveness, but your actual effectiveness based on how much you scheduled out for the day, again, in your blocks and in your priorities, and then how much you got done. So that's how priority works, okay? Or not priority, that's how output works. And when you get into here, now you can see, okay, cool. So I can see that I was a 3, I was in a 4, I was a 5, I was a 2, 4, 3, a 5, 3. Okay. And then I can even fill a sleep time, right? So for example, for my sleep times, maybe this was like, I had maybe I had like, 8 hours of sleep, and then I had like 3 or 4 hours of sleep, then I had 5 hours of sleep, then I had four, then I had 10 maybe, then I had three. So then you can kind of see, okay, my average this week was 5.7. And maybe like that kind of relates to my happiness, right? Maybe I'm unhappy this day because I slept a bit less. Maybe I'm unhappy because I also didn't reflect. Maybe I'm unhappy because, I didn't get much other stuff done, right? So it gives you so much insight into your life. It's ridiculous. It gives you an um, amount of detail into your life that you can understand yourself so much more. And the really cool thing here is that it even rolls up to this, right? So now, remember we talked about we wanted to see the month view, right? If I go into the month view and let's just hide everything, and I'm reviewing how the month went, let's go into the highlights of this month, which is the weeks. I can see, okay, so my mood for November 8th to the 14th, I was progressively happier and then I got progressively more neutral. What was my average output, right? What was my output average? And again, this show, let's see, output average, output average. Okay, now I need to average it. My output average is this, right? So I can see my output average is 74%. This week was pretty damn good, right? I hit 74% output average. I slept only 5.7 hours though on average, so not too good. This is my word cloud for the week. I felt, a lot of things that kind of come out a lot, a lot of yellow, right? Whatever that means. A lot of helpfulness, a lot of sharing. You can kind of see exactly what you've kind of felt over the whole week. You can add notes for yourself. You can say like after when you reflect on the week, this week was very productive, but I wish I had more sleep. You know, I definitely like that I'm able to keep track of my week like this, right? So super easy, super helpful for you to be able to track every single week and see exactly what you want to get done and how you got it done. And again, imagine your whole week is spread out like that, right? It's not just November 8th to 14th. It's November 1st to 7th, 15th to 21. Every single week is there for you to see in your month review. So very powerful. We're running out of time, so I only want to do one more thing for you guys because the last thing is very important. Is the project manager view. And for the project manager view, what you do is you just go back to the keep it simple dashboard, and you go into the conduct structure planning, and then you can see what we have here. And this is also very cool, but very streamlined. So that's the main thing, very streamlined. So if you're in conduct structure planning, you can look at the reference. You can see, okay, what were the key results I wanted to focus on this week? And then what were the projects I wanted to focus on this week as well? So you notice that we don't have anything in here. And the reason behind that is because we actually didn't fill that out inside our view. Whoops. So let's go into our week view and let's say what are the active projects we want to work on. So we need to check them off. Let's say we want to build up family relationships. We want to do meditation exercises. And let's say we wanted to do architecture. That's for Shania. So if I went back to my to this page here for conduct structure planning, and let's say I just refresh quickly, I can now see that, okay, for this week and this week only, I don't need to focus on anything else. When I'm executing, I only want to accomplish these three key results, and I'm only going to work on these three projects. I'm not going to work on anything else. I don't have time for anything else. These are the only things that happen. And if anything else comes, it goes straight into my inbox, and it doesn't leave my inbox to be worked on because I don't want to work on anything else. So based on everything up here, I'm now going to focus on, okay, these are the things I'm going to work on. For example, I want to hand in a report for standing out at work. I guess that's not in it, but you can see the relation upstream, right? You can see, okay, I'm only going to do uh, tasks that relate to meditation exercises, that relate to building up family relationships. And you can see that here, and let's say that this did match, or actually, let me just make it a real example. I don't want to fake anything, right? So let's say this was standing at work was something that I wanted to focus on as well today. So let's click on that. And then if I go into the conduct structure planning, I can see, okay, this is good. I can work on this. This is something that I actually said I wanted to work on. Now I take this and then I drag it into my active quest. Boom. And if I go into my Keep It Simple dashboard, my Make Life Simple dashboard, I can see that pop up in my today view. I can say that, okay, because I scheduled it for today, this is something that I wanted to do today that just got added in, which was hand in report 1 day before expected. And then now I can set a priority. I can schedule a time block to do it. Everything comes together. So that's kind of it. I mean, it's huge. I don't expect you to get it all in one go. I didn't even get it in one go. I had took many calls, many weeks, a lot of deep planning with myself to make sure I was productive, planning with my friends, family, community members, now finally with you guys to make this work as we need it, to create an environment where we can have all these different reviews and insights in your lives. And obviously, you can even add in your own meaningful workflows. You can even add in, like, oh, what custom workflows do you have? Maybe on a weekly basis, right? Again, maybe let's show this frequency as well. Maybe on a quarterly basis, then you might want to declutter your room. Maybe on a monthly basis, you have a Costco run. Maybe on a weekly basis, you're building your personal network. These are all things that you can do, and you can all things that you can add on to your review cycle, so that when it comes time for you to do that review, you are also working on the unique workflows that you want to accomplish that are part of your day-to-day life, that are more, let's say, maintenance than anything. Carl, you're exactly right. Measure twice, cut exactly. And the whole idea here is that when you are cutting, you don't want to be having to think about how to cut. When you're cutting, you're just cutting, right? You don't want to think about why you're cutting or where you're gonna cut or whatever. You want it all to be set for you, and you want to have the confidence that everything has been planned out well in advance. That you know that everything's intentional. You know that everything you're doing has purpose, and you know for sure that you're working towards a future that you want. So that's up for me. Um, I hope that this was very insightful and very helpful for you. This was a big update. Took a lot of time, a lot of effort. If you enjoyed it, if you appreciate content like this, feel free to subscribe to us, join us in the community. Definitely join us as a patron if you want to get access to cool templates like this. The review cycles is only available for people who are subscribed for the super package. So anybody who are annual patrons, or if you're part of our course or part of your motivation course, also our Coix 3 patrons as well. You get access to this just because it really just clouds everything you have, and it's not meaningful unless you have every single aspect of the system, like the Be Intentional series, as well as the gamification project and all that. That's it from me, guys. Really happy to have you guys here. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask us in the community. We're over at cox3.com. That's co-3.com. We're a group of like-minded, passionate creatives, second winders, students, entrepreneurs that just really are passionate about doing our best work and living intentionally and finding out cool ways of how to do that, new ways to tackle everyday challenges. So, you guys take care. Thank you so much again for watching. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and stay tuned for more updates. Bye now.